So the third one is a trial close. Now, in the trial close, while having that conversation with your prospect, you ask them several questions to be able to ascertain how well you're doing so far within the conversation, and their response determine the direction you go in. So let's say you've been trying to convince a customer about a product, you're telling them about a service or a product. Now at some point you stop and ask them if you've been able to really explain this and that to them, and if they want you to talk more about it. Now the customer could say, I understand what you've been saying, but I don't really understand what you mean by this. Now that immediately changes the course of the conversation. So for you can also call this the check close. After you try to pitch, sometimes you ask questions to know how far you've gone, how well you've done with telling them about the product. So whatever they respond, that is what propels you to either say more or change the course of the conversation. That is how the trial close works. So let's quickly move on to number 4, the power of suggestion close. Now in the power of suggestion close, you get your customers with by you use words and pictures, to paint a scenario where your customers are already using the products you're trying to market to them. Power of suggestion, you try to use that power, suggestive power, to already put them in a picture where they already own that product. So let's say you're marketing a gown to a prospect. Now, for you to use the power of suggestion close to close that sale, you go ahead and tell them to imagine, okay, to tell them that they would steal the attention in this room when they step in with that gown. Let's say they're buying a gown they want to use for the wedding. You know, just paint a picture that shows that they've already bought that product. By the time you drive in this car and get across the traffic, the police people, they are not even going to stop to ask you a lot of questions, because you exude the presence of an excellency and stuff like that. So you're giving them the impression that they're already owning that product. By the time you wear this perfume, whoever you walk past will turn back to look at you 2 times. Power of suggestion. So the person not haven't even bought the perfume, but within them they're already, following the picture you're painting. Power of suggestion. So the power of suggestion close is one of the strongest closing techniques you can use to sell your products. And if your product is in the real estate sector again, and you want to use the power of suggestion close, you could just tell the person you're going to really enjoy living in this peaceful neighborhood. You're going to enjoy the company that comes with this neighborhood. You're going to be inspired by the kind of people that live here. You're already suggesting to them what they will benefit when they use that product. Is all power of suggestion. So number 5, the invitational close. In the invitational close, you make invitation to people to buy a product. So when you've gone over, talking about the products with your clients and all of that, at the end of the day, when they bring up all the objections, things that make them know what to buy the product, then you invite them. But why don't you give it a try? That word. Why don't you just give it a try? Why don't you just buy it? You're inviting them, meaning they still have their options open, but why don't they just try out this one? Now your client is telling you, I really love this suit, but I've seen another suit I admire and stuff like this suit might not really fit into my occasion. And then you go again, why don't you just give it a try? Right? You're selling a service to a customer, and they say they've seen people who do it better for lesser prices and stuff. After they say all the things they have in mind, then you invite them again. What you've said makes sense, but why don't you just give this one a try? Then if it doesn't give you what you want, then you can have your money back, right? You invite your customers to you know give your product or service a try. That is what we call the invitational close. Then we have the deafening silence close, right? Some people call it the sudden death close, but I call this the deafening silence close. So let's say we are this some of these closing techniques work over the phone, some would work over a video chat, some would work physically. So you've pitched your product to this customer. You've told them all of the benefits of your product. Not Don't say much of the features. It should just be basically about the benefits of your product. Now you've talked and talked and talked. So at some point, when you've hit some good points about the product, and then all those resistance come, then at some point you just let the environment, fall to dead silence. You say something, you leave it, then after they speak, you don't say anything, just focus on something and just cause that definite silence. What that thing does, it's psychological. It kind of builds a tension between you and the prospect. So within that tension, they are trying to make quick buying decisions, right? Always ensure you let that silence linger. So the more that silence lingers, your customer tries to make that buying decision. So that tension you're creating between the both of you are going to make is going to make it harder for them to say no. They keep wondering what you're thinking. They keep wondering if you're about to change your mind about selling to them and all of that. So when you use the deafening silence close technique, your clients quickly juggle your mind over a lot of things and will eventually come into terms with what you're trying to pitch to them. So one more thing you should take home is in the deafening silence clause, whoever that speaks first loses, right? So if your client speaks first, they have lost the bargain, so they're definitely they have higher chances of buying your product. And if you speak first, you might end up saying the wrong thing, and then the customer decides not to buy. So after you've pitched, the best time to always ask for the sale is at the end of your sales presentation, right? After you've said all the things you want to say, when you ask for that sale is at the end of the presentation. And bear in mind that he who speaks first after that silence loses. So the scenario always goes this way. After the both of you have talked a while and remain silent. So if the customer waits and waits and waits and he gets to say nothing, the first thing they will say is, okay, all right, let's do it this way, right? But if you're the person who is trying to speak again, you're most likely going to go back to persuasion. And the more you try to persuade them, the more you sound salesy, like you really want to sell. Now they see more reasons not to even buy the product. So you should allow that silence linger. The longer the silence, the more chances of you closing that sale, because that silence that is lingering is them considering what would possibly go wrong if they buy the product and all of that. So when they speak up first, you have higher chances of getting into them and getting them to buy the product. One thing you must take home is that sales is a psychological process. And one more thing I didn't include in this list is the strategy of agreeing with your customers. Like, always agree with what your customers say. So when you're pitching your product and then the customer says, I feel the price of this product is too expensive, always agree. Say yes, the price is expensive, I agree with you. Then give them reasons why it is so, right? They say the price is this, the price is that. Then give them always give reasons that make the price look small. All right. Give talk about the benefits in a way that it dwarfs the price of the product. Now if the person is trying to get your services for digital marketing, and then they say, you're charging $500, I think it is too expensive. You say, yes, I agree, my charge is actually too expensive, but it is so because I don't just run your ads, I ensure I give you strategies to help you generate sales. So imagine you're investing $500 into me running ads for you. A lot of people will take your money, just run your ads and go. But I run your ads and I monitor these ads, right? I ensure I help you generate leads. I tell you how to nurture your leads and then how you can close a sale, meaning you're going to make back the $500. Now, you're giving them reasons that makes the price looking significant. All right. So always agree when they say the price is too expensive. When they give their objections, agree, then get into them. Agree and then get into them. Right. It's one of the most brilliant sales strategies you can use to sell almost any product.